The flashing red and blue lights cut through the evening air as Officer Daniels, a seasoned white police officer, pulls over a sleek black SUV on a quiet city street. His grip tightens on the steering wheel as he watches the silhouette of a woman behind the tinted glass. Something about this stop feels routine, but it won't be. Inside the car sits Captain Maya Harris, a high-ranking black officer in the very same department, dressed casually after a long day. She watches the patrol car in her rearview mirror, recognizing the tension before it even begins. Daniels approaches, unaware of who he's about to confront. His voice is firm, rehearsed. "License and registration, ma'am." Captain Harris calmly reaches for her ID, her badge subtly flashing in the dim light. But Daniels doesn't notice. Not yet. The air grows heavier as seconds stretch. Maya debates whether to speak up or let him realize on his own. Will his assumptions cloud his judgment, or will the truth unfold before things escalate? In a split second, the dynamic of this stop could change everything for both of them. What happens when authority is questioned, even by its own? Stay tuned. Captain Maya Harris slowly hands over her license, her badge tucked just beneath it. Officer Daniels barely glances at the ID, too focused on maintaining control of the situation. His tone sharpens. "Do you know why I pulled you over tonight?" Maya meets his eyes, calm but cautious. "No, officer. Would you like to tell me?" Her steady voice catches him off guard, but he brushes it off. Daniel senses something different about her, but pride keeps him from looking closer. He steps back, scanning her license under the streetlight, still oblivious to the title printed clearly beside her name. Captain. Minutes feel like hours. Maya watches him carefully, remembering the countless training sessions she's led on de-escalation, on bias, on awareness. Yet here she is, on the receiving end. She wonders if Daniels is following his training or his instincts. In his patrol car, Daniels radios in the plate number, his voice low. The dispatcher hesitates before responding. "That vehicle is registered to Captain Maya Harris, of your department." Daniel stiffens, eyes darting back to the SUV. But instead of returning to the car, he pauses. Does he admit his mistake or double down? The line between authority and assumption is razor thin, and it's about to be tested. Officer Daniels takes a slow, steady breath, gripping the radio tighter. The dispatcher's words echo in his mind. Asterisk Captain Maya, Harris asterisk, he hadn't expected this. A captain, his superior. Yet here he stands, caught between his authority and a mistake that could cost him. Maya watches from her rearview mirror, sensing the shift. She knows that pause too well. It's the hesitation that comes when someone realizes they've misjudged a situation. But she doesn't move. She wants to see what kind of officer Daniels really is. Meanwhile, a second patrol car cruises slowly down the street, lights off but watching. Officer Daniels' partner, Rookie Officer Kelly Reed, had called for backup earlier. Protocol, he claimed. But now, Reed stays back, unsure whether to step in or stay quiet. He's seen Daniels handle situations with confidence, but this feels different. Inside her car, Maya thinks about her team, officers she's mentored, policies she's fought to change. All of it feels distant now. Her mind flashes to recent department meetings about community trust, about accountability. How ironic, she thinks. Daniels finally steps back toward the SUV, face tense. He knows he can't take back his tone, his assumptions, but his next move could define him. Does he acknowledge who she is or protect his pride? The silence between them grows heavier. Officer Daniels slowly approaches the driver's window again, the weight of the situation pressing on his shoulders. His hand hovers near his belt, not on his weapon, but close enough to send a message. He forces his voice to stay steady. Step out of the vehicle, Lamb. Captain Maya Harris doesn't move. Her eyes lock onto his, calm but unyielding. Is there a reason for that, officer? Her question cuts through the tension like a blade. Daniels hesitates, caught between protocol and the realization of his mistake. His partner, Officer Reed, watches from a distance, shifting nervously on his feet. Reed's radio crackles, but he ignores it. He can feel the situation spiraling. Maya slowly lowers her window a bit more, letting the silence speak for her. She could flash her badge, end this now, but she doesn't. Not yet. Daniels clenches his jaw. His pride won't let him back down, but his gut tells him he's in over his head. The flashing lights reflect off Maya's calm face, highlighting the unspoken standoff. Every second stretches longer. A bystander across the street quietly lifts a phone, recording. The tension is about to break. But how? No one knows what will happen next. Before Officer Daniels can speak again, his radio crackles sharply. Units be advised, shots fired reported 2 blocks south of your location. Suspect vehicle matching the description of a black SUV. Daniel's eyes narrow, flicking to Maya's car. His grip tightens. Step out of the vehicle. Now. His voice is no longer steady, it's sharp, commanding. Maya's calm expression shifts, brows narrowing. Are you accusing me of something, officer? Her tone cools, but there's steel behind it. Daniels hesitates, but the report fuels his suspicion. Asterisk what if she's connected? Asterisk he can't risk letting her go. His mind races, torn between protocol and pressure. Officer Reed steps forward, unease growing. Daniels, maybe we should. Stay back, Reed. Daniels snaps, cutting him off. Maya's hand slowly moves toward her badge. Officer Daniels, you need to think carefully about your next move. But before she can reveal it, another car screeches to a halt behind them. Out steps Lieutenant Brooks, Maya's longtime rival in the department. His eyes lock onto Maya, then Daniels. What's going on here? He demands. Daniels straightens, caught off guard. Brooks smirks slightly, eyeing Maya. Funny seeing you here, Captain. Care to explain why you're at the center of this mess? The air thickens. Now it's not just about authority, it's personal. Lieutenant Brooks steps closer, eyes narrowing as he scans the tense scene. Daniels, why is Captain Harris out of her vehicle? His tone drips with authority, but there's something else, something colder. Daniels stammers, unsure whether to stand his ground or back off. There was a shots fired call. Her vehicle matches the description. Maya finally speaks, voice sharp. Lieutenant, you know this is a mistake. I've been in meetings all evening. Check the logs. She holds up her badge, the gold glinting in the flashing lights. Brooks doesn't glance at it. Instead, he smirks. Funny how your SUV fits the description. And now, here you are. Maya's stomach tightens. This isn't coincidence. Brooks knows something. Then it clicks. Brooks, Maya says slowly, you called in that report, didn't you? His smirk fades for a split second. Daniels looks between them, confusion turning to doubt. Sir, is that true? Brooks straightens. Watch your tone, officer. But Reed steps forward, gripping his radio. Dispatch, confirm the caller on that shots fired report. Silence. Then asterisk static asterisk. Report was called in by Lieutenant Brooks. Daniels freezes. Brooks' hand subtly moves toward his belt, but Maya is faster. Don't. Backup sirens wail in the distance. Brooks slowly raises his hands, his smirk gone. The real threat wasn't on the street. It was standing right beside them all along. The distant sirens grew louder, filling the heavy silence. Officer Daniels slowly stepped back, disbelief clouding his face. "Lieutenant, why?" he muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. Brooks didn't answer. His cold glare said enough. Years of rivalry, resentment, and quiet ambition had finally boiled over. But now, cornered and exposed, he had nowhere left to hide. Backup units swarmed the scene, lights flashing as officers quickly moved in. Maya watched calmly as Brooks was disarmed and placed in handcuffs, his silence more damning than any words. Officer Reed looked at Captain Harris, guilt flickering in his eyes. "Captain, I didn't know. I should." Maya raised a hand, stopping him. "Learn from this, Reed. It's not about who you think someone is. It's about how you handle the truth when it's right in front of you." Daniel stood frozen, struggling to process everything. Maya met his eyes, her voice steady but firm. "Respect goes both ways, officer. Remember that." As the officers led Brooks away, the flashing lights slowly faded into the night. Maya took a deep breath and got back into her SUV, the engine quietly rumbling to life. Tonight, the badge had been tested, not by the streets, but by those who wore it. And trust, once broken, would take far longer to rebuild.